Hey, beautiful peeps. Today we're not checking out Hammy Boy, nor are we checking out John Morris. We're going back to Roger Oakland. You know, the Gish Galloper from last time. So let's see if he wants to Gish Gallop some more, or whether we're actually going to get somewhere this time. So grab your facepalm gear and your snacks, get ready, and let's go. Because today, just like every other day of our fucking lives, young Earth creationists are gonna try to teach us something they know nothing about: our origins. So, yep, you need your facepalm gear and your snacks. I know Roger Oakland is kind of boring, but since I didn't get into a whole lot of his video because of all his scalloping, I figure I'll do him again and see if he's a bit more interesting and see if he's going to be able to gift scallop some more. So, anyway, Roger, take it away.
In the beginning, things were very good. They were perfect, just like God wanted. But then, as sin entered into the universe and God's curse on all of creation because of that sin, the wages of sin is death, not only in the physical life, but in the universe. Everything is dying. The sun is burning out. The moon's orbit is decaying. Everything is in this process of death and decay.
Evolutionists and creationists agree now that the universe is finite. Space and time and matter had a beginning.
So in the beginning, everything was perfect the way God created it. And then somehow a couple on a tiny little planet eating a fruit made the universe just like start to fall apart. Do you ever listen to yourselves? That makes no goddamn sense. But let's forget the universe. Let's talk about our little pale blue dot. Okay, so we sinned, which I don't believe in the concept of sin, but whatever. But anyway, Adam and Eve supposedly sinned, and now all of the earth is being punished. What the fuck did the animals do to deserve that? Whoa there, Nelly. You cannot use as fact something you have not proven, and you have not proven that the universe is winding down. Like I have told you before, there are star nurseries where stars are being born probably every second. So, how is that destruction? We also have to keep in mind that the universe is expanding as we speak. Now, I don't know how astronomers and astrophysicists figure this out. That's way above my pay grade, okay? But I'm just trusting them because that's the consensus. So, how is that winding down? This universe had a beginning. Yes. That does not mean that space time itself had a beginning. As far as we know, our universe started with the singularity, which is just a concept where the math breaks down. Do some reading. Before the singularity, where all the math breaks down and we get these weird infinite values, we have no idea what happened. So you cannot claim knowledge on that subject. Nobody can, because nobody knows what happened before that time. Hell, I'm a relative newbie at this, and even I know this stuff. And you think that you can argue something that you know nothing about. You don't know anything about the other side of the argument. I know both sides of the argument, so I can argue both sides, okay? Don't fuck with me.
20th century science, embarrassingly, has confirmed the biblical view, because the great discovery in cosmology is that the experts have agreed that the universe had a beginning. and they call it a singularity. You see, the whole Big Bang idea really is, first there was nothing, and then it exploded. The fact that the universe is finite, that it had a start, is a key fact, but a very, very awkward fact for the evolutionist, because it really raises an issue they won't deal with, and that is what happened prior to that singularity.
Oh my fucking God, where do I even start? No, 20th century science has not proven the biblical view true. In fact, it has demolished the biblical view. Earth was not created in 6 days, and it has demolished the order. Now, of course, I'm talking about the YECs when I'm talking about 6-day creationism and not old Earth creationists. As I've said before, I have been in contact with a rabbi who assures me that the word yom used in Genesis does not mean a literal 24-hour period. So about 4.6 billion years ago, our solar system was just a bunch of dust. And this dust started closing in on itself due to gravity to form a solar nebula. As the sun formed, the rest of the material began to accrete due to gravity, and due to the strong solar winds, they swept off lighter elements like hydrogen and helium, leaving the harder elements to form into rocky planets. The core formed first, which is why it is made of heavier elements, while the lighter elements piled on top. It is thought that around this time, the Earth's magnetic field formed along with this protoplanet. Early in development, another planet collided with Earth, breaking off chunks of Earth, and Earth's gravity trapped some of it in the gravity field of Earth, and that is where we get the moon. Well, that was easier than I thought. I was going to go on, but I don't need to because I've answered all the questions that the Bible raises of the order of quote unquote creation, which is just dumb.
If the universe did not originate from an explosion, the only other option is that it was created, an option that many scientists are not willing to consider.
Almost all scientists would try to find a mechanical explanation of how the stars, the galaxies, and the planetary system came into existence by purely mechanical means without any intervention of a God in creation. To my mind, they have utterly failed. If you look at the planetary system alone, there have been several explanations trying to show how the planetary system came into existence without any pre-formation by God, and each one has failed miserably.
Well, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one.
First of all, the universe didn't come from an explosion. I don't know what's so hard about that for you to understand. Second of all, the Big Bang and creation are not a true dichotomy. There are other choices. But I'll play along with your dumbass false dichotomy just to make a point. Let's say that it is a true dichotomy. It is either the Big Bang or creation, which it isn't. But let's say it is. You still have to prove it's your God. I know listening and comprehension are a little bit beyond your skills, but try very hard, okay? If there was any evidence for creation, that would become the scientific model. The first scientists were creationists. Unlike you people who have to cling to your fairy tale at any price, scientists are willing and able to change their minds. Take Einstein, for instance. He was wrong, and he admitted it, and he accepted it. Okay, I don't know who the dude with the red background is, and I'm not even going to bother to look him up because they'd never bothered to give a name for him. But the fact that the natural world is all we see and all we can prove makes it a naturalistic possibility. Dude, you are in the minority. And you know what? We really don't care what your opinion is. Because, as I inserted, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. Try giving us scientific evidence and then we'll listen to you. I also find it interesting that you don't enumerate how the theories have failed. You just assert they have failed, and you expect us to take you at your word. Why don't you try telling us where they have failed? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Silly little me, asking you to do something that is impossible, not only because you cannot do it, but that it cannot be done because it is not true.
Many observations contradict the current theories on how the solar system evolved. The most popular theory holds that the solar system formed from an interstellar cloud of swirling gas and dust. If the sun, planets, and moons evolved from the same material, they should have many similarities. Yet each planet is unique. Since about 98% of the sun is hydrogen or helium, Earth, Mars, Venus, and Mercury should have similar compositions. Instead, much less than 1% of these planets is hydrogen or helium. If the solar system evolved, all planets should spin in the same direction. But Pluto and Venus rotate backwards, while Uranus is tipped on its side and rotates like a wheel. All moons in our solar system should orbit their planets in the same sense. But at least 6 have backward orbits.
Gravity, you fucking retard! Gravity! Have you ever heard of fucking gravity? Gravity! Gravity!
Jesus fucking Christ. This question is so stupid and has been answered so many times. I wonder if it's even worth my time. I guess it is, since I decided to do this. First, I'll start with the Solar Nebula, then I'll start with the solar winds. So the Solar Nebula was the flattened, rotating disk from which the solar system accreted. And studies of comets and other primitive bodies have shown us what the early nebula was made of. Astrophysicists also rely on physical observation of star and protoplanetary formation in order to come to conclusions as to how the solar nebula was formed. I'm not going to get into the protostar, protoplanetary stages because that would make this video way too long. However, if you plug in the address below me into the address bar, you will find the 6 stages. So now that we have a very basic idea of how the solar nebula formed, we can now go into these idiotic questions about why planets are so different in their composition. So the outer layer of the sun, called the corona, is about 2 million degrees Fahrenheit or 1.1 million degrees Celsius. And at that temperature, gravity cannot hold on to the rapidly moving particles, and that makes up the solar winds. Now, I know you guys know about solar winds because even fucking Kent Hovind knows about solar winds, and he's the bottom of the barrel. You're slightly above Kent Hovind, I will say, but you know about solar winds. And as you know, or should know, wind carries lighter particles farther than it does heavier particles. So why the fuck would you be surprised that the inner planets are made of heavier elements than the outer planets? And now for your dumbest question in this segment. I am a dumbass when it comes to cosmology, and even I can answer this question. The reason there are planets that are spinning backwards and one of them is sideways is that they had an impact sometime in the past.
Theories on the moon's origin are also completely inadequate. The moon's elements are too dissimilar to those of Earth's, and its orbital plane and circular orbit offer strong evidence that the moon was created in its present orbit.
There is no evidence that the planetary system could have come about by mechanical means. However, the more that scientists began to look at the amazing universe that they inhabited, they began to realize that there were certain factors that were simply very, very fine-tuned for the existence of man, of molecules, of organic life. And the more they looked, the more they realized that we are in effect on really quite a knife edge, and there are many, many indications that this universe has been very specially designed and man is at the very center of it.
I did skip a couple of minutes in the original video. If you want to see it, go ahead and click the link in the description. If you don't want to give them a whole bunch of viewing time, you can put it up to 1.7 times normal. That's what I do when I do these rebuttals. So it's the same old, same old. Why? I'm not going to get too picky about when they say that the theories of the formation of the moon are inadequate, because I really don't know when this was made. I found it on a mirror site. Mirror sites typically don't tell you when the original was made. However, we now have a cohesive theory of the formation of the moon, and we do know that it is made from the same elements as Earth. Anybody who knows anything about astronomy will know that about 4.5 billion years ago, there was a collision between our Earth and another object, and that's what threw the moon from our planet, and the moon just so happened to be caught in our gravity field. Our moon is also mainly responsible for life on Earth because Earth has a wobble. I'm not going to get into it right now, but it has a wobble, and the moon lets that wobble maintain in a orderly way, and the moon also lets the tides go in and out, which regulates life on Earth. Okay, so even though I'm willing to give them a pass about the theories of the moon's origin, I am not willing to give them a pass about the quote-unquote circular orbit of the moon, because I am 44 years old in 2022. And when I was in junior high school, I learned about the perigee and apogee of the moon. The moon has an elliptical orbit, people, not a circular orbit. You are flat out lying. Now, the perigee is the closest the moon comes to the Earth. The apogee is the farthest the moon gets away from the Earth. I wish you people would stop lying. I saved what makes me angriest for last. That is until I get the other clip up so I can calm down. And that is that Christians seem to be arrogant enough to think that the universe was made for us. You arrogant morons. It is not. Earth isn't even made for us. We can't even live on 98% of the Earth.
There are thousands of parameters and ratios that if you adjust them even a little bit, life is impossible. We quickly discover that the Earth was a little closer, a little further from the Sun. It's either too warm or too cold. If it turns at a little different speed, if the masses are a little different, it would hold too much or too little atmosphere. As you start trying to model this, you quickly discover that all the parameters involve an incredibly delicate balance. And so they call this the Anthropic Principle, meaning it's as if everything we know was skillfully designed or balanced for man.
Yeah, I'm going to have to call bullshit on the universe was specifically made for man. Hell, Earth wasn't even made for man. The amount of land we can inhabit is 12.5%. That's land. That isn't even including the oceans, which are uninhabitable. I'm also going to have to call bullshit on your perfect distance from the sun, because that is not true either. Just like the moon has an apogee and a perigee for the Earth has perihelion and aphelion. At perihelion, the Earth is about 91.6 million miles away from the sun. At aphelion, Earth is about 94.5 million miles away from the sun. So that's a difference of about 3 million miles. You might want to do some research. But I guess that would be a little too inconvenient for your argument, huh? Well, it's fine, I guess, because most of your audience isn't going to pick up on it. But for scientifically literate people, you just look stupid and nobody's going to take you seriously. Jesus fucking Christ. And I thought Hovine the bovine was a dumbass. But you take the cake in dumbassery, because at least Hovine the bovine knows that the Earth's rotation is slowing down. How can you not know this? What kind of an idiot are you? No, there is no quote unquote as if to the anthropic principle. The anthropic principle only states that the cosmological constants of the universe allow life to exist. Full stop. And I'm going to need citations for the thousands of parameters and ratios for life to exist, because if we lived in a different universe, we would be different. That doesn't mean that life would not exist, could not exist. It would just mean it would be different. And considering that this is the only universe we can observe, that means that we can't observe another universe with other parameters that might have other life forms. How dumb do you have to be to get in public and say this? At this point, I really shouldn't be surprised at anything they do anymore because they're a bunch of liars and deceivers and conmen. But I really am surprised that they didn't give me any name for that dude that I could look up. I wonder why. Who would have thunk that people who don't really get out of their brainwashed churchy world into the real world would know what origins means? I mean, there's like different sciences. It's not just one science. Come on, anybody knows this stuff. Minor nitpick, not just anybody. I don't really blame the brainwashed yuckers. They're just brainwashed, but at some point, they have to figure this stuff out, right? Who I blame is the yucker leadership. They definitely know what's going on. They definitely know that they are lying and they dismiss it. Anyway, if you like this video, check out my other videos. If you like my channel, please subscribe. Uh, Consider becoming a member. You can become a member for as low as 99 cents a month. You get perks like custom emojis and all that good stuff. You also get these first. Don't forget to like and leave a comment down below. It really helps the algorithm. And if you would, go ahead and share this around if you feel that it deserves some sharing. Alrighty. Anyway, if you stuck with me through all that nonsense that I had to debunk, and there's a lot more nonsense to come, believe me, congratulations. Um, pat yourself on the back and, go get you a drink, recover some of your neurons. Bye.